The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Miss Metavi Simmons. Chapter 10. Pirate. Tom's mind was made up now. He was gloomy and desperate. He was a lowly, friendless boy, he thought, when they found out what they had driven him to. Perhaps that they would be sorry. Nothing would please them but to get rid of him. Let it be so, and let them blame him for the result. The result. Yes, they had forced him to it. At last, he would lead a life to, of crime. Of crime. There was no choice. By this time, he was far away from school, and the bell for lessons came faintly to his ear. The tears came into his eye as he thought that he would never hear that old familiar sound again. Just at this point, he met his best friend, Joe Harper, who had evidently a great and mournful purpose in his heart. Tom wiping his eye with his sleeve began to mourn something about his determination to escape from length of sympathy at home by wandering into the great world, never to return. He ended by hoping that Joe would not forget him. But it appeared that Joe had also made up his mind to run away from home. He had been searching for Tom to give him this important piece of information. His mother had whipped him for drinking some cream which he had not tasted and which he knew nothing about. It was plain that she was tired of him and wished him to go. As the two boys walked sorrowing along, they saw to stand by each other to be brothers till death relieved them of their troubles. Then they began to lay their plans. Joe wanted to be a holy man and live on bits of bread in a cave and die at last of cold, want, and grief. But after listening to Tom, he agreed that there were some outstanding adventures about a life of crime, and so he consents to be a pirate. 3 miles below St. Petersburg, at a point where the Mississippi River was about a mile wide, there was a long, narrow, wooden island with a shallow sandbar at the head of it. This island would be a suitable meeting place. It was not inhabited, and lay far over towards the farthest bank. Fancy a thick forest, so Jackson's Island was chosen. Then they searched for huckleberry fins, and he joined them directly. For our professions were the same to him. They arranged to meet at a lowly spot on the river bank 2 miles above the village at their favorite hour, midnight. There was a small log raft there which they intend to capture. Each would bring hooks and fishing lines and such food as he could steal in the dark and mysterious way of a true pirate. During the afternoon, they told everyone that soon the town would hear something stalling. All who get this work knew were warned to keep it a secret and wait. About midnight, Tom arrived with some meat and a few trifle trifle and stopped in the thick bush on a steep slope overlooking the meeting place. He gave a low whistle. It was answered from the foot of a slope. Tom whistled twice more. These signals were answered in the same way. "Who's go there?" said a voice. "Tom Sawyer, the Black Avenger of the Spanish seas. Give me your name." "Huck Finn and Red Hand and Jehovah, the turtle of the ocean." Tom had provided these titles from his favorite literature. "Give the password," to whisper delivered the same awful word at the same time to the bristlet knight. Then Tom drove his mule down the slope and let himself down after it, tearing both skin and clothes in the effort. There was an easy, comfortable path along the bank at the foot of the slope, but Tom knew that a real pirate preferred difficulty and danger to ease and comfort. The turtle of the ocean had brought a big bag full of loaf and had tried himself out carrying it there. Finn, the Red Hand, had stolen thriving, a thriving pan, and a quantity of tobacco. The black arranger of the Spanish Sea said that they could not start without some fire. That was a wish thought, for match were hardly known that in those days they saw a fire upon a great left and 100 yards above, and they went and held themselves to a glowing piece of wood. They made an exciting adventure of it, saying shh, every moving with hand on imaginary knife, and giving order in forced whisper. They knew that the riftmen were all down at the village, but that did not matter. They had to steal the fire in the right piratical way. They pushed off. Presently, Tom in command hugged at the after or at the other or hugged at the all after or and Joe at the forward. Tom, with a gloomy face and folded arms, gave his order in a low, stern whisper. Bring her to the wine. Hey, sir. Steady. Easy, sir. What? So is she carrying? Man saucer. Send the topsail up. Leaving now. Hey, sir. As the boy steadily and uneventfully drove the raft toward mid-river, it was no doubt understood that these orders were given only for style and were not intended to mean anything in particular. Hardly a word was said during the next 3/4 of an hour. Now the raft was passing the field, glimmering light of the distant village. The Black Avenger stood still with folded arms, taking a last look at the scenes of his former joy and later suffering. He wished that those whom he had left for ever could see him now, not to stormy sea, facing hardships and death with a courageous hand. The other pirates were talking a last look too. They looked so long that they nearly floated past closed past the island, but they discovered the danger in time, and that about 2 o'clock in the morning the raft struck on the sandbar. They walked backward and forwards through the shallow water until they had land. They had land their supplies. They spread over some sail on the little raft, and they spread over some bush as the tent to shelter their food that they themselves would sleep in the open air in fine weather as pirates should. They built a fire in the wood, cooked some meat in the chafing pan, and had it for supper with some of the lowest. It seemed glorious. It seemed glorious fun to have facing in that wild, free way, far from civilization. The fire lit up their face and the tree trucks around. After supper, they stretched themselves out on the grass, filled with contentment. "Is it jelly?" said Joe. "It's grand," said Tom. I don't want anything better than this," said Huckleberry. I don't get enough to eat actually, and here people can come and kick and worry me." Huckleberry now filled his pipe with tobacco, pressed a glowing coal to it, and blew out a cloud of sweet smelling smoke. The other pirates envied envy him this impressive voice, and secretly determined to adopt it soon. "What do pirates do? What do pirates do?" asked Huck. "Oh, they have a fine time. Said Tom. They take ships and turn them, and get the money, and burying it in awful place in their island, where there are ghosts to watch it, and kill everybody in the ships. And there were the loveliest clothes, all gold and silver and diamonds," said Joe. "I don't think I'm properly dressed for a pirate," said Huck, regarding his own clothes sadly. But these are the only ones I've got." But the other boy told him that the fine clothes would come fast enough after they had begun the adventures. Gradually, their talk died out, and sleepiness began to steal upon the eyelid of the avengers. The piece dropped from the fingers of the wrist hand. The terror of the ocean and the Black Avenger had more difficulty in getting to sleep. They said their prayers silently and lying down silent there. Since there was nobody there with authority to make them kneel and say them aloud. As they were about to fall asleep, an unwelcome visitor crept in and could not be driven away. It was consent. They began to feel a woke fear that it was wrong to run away from home. Next, they thought of a stolen meat and bread. They tried to argue it away by reminding conscience that they had taken sweets and cake and apple without permission dozens of times, but consent would not accept as a thin argument. In the end, we were forced to admit that running off with cake was only taking, while running off with meat and allowance of bread was plain simple in stealing, and there was a command agent that in the Bible. So in their heart they resolved that as long as they were pirates, they would have nothing to do with the crime of stealing. Conscience was satisfied, and this thought pirate fell peacefully asleep.